Hi everyone, this is Avi here from Precision Physiotherapy and Hamilton Physio and Rehab. Today we are going to talk about how to safely do gardening and prevent back pain or any other injuries, let's say repetitive strain injuries of your wrist, elbow, knee issues, hip problems, and things of that nature. So first and the most important part is good sturdy shoes, very self-explanatory because you're working on uneven terrains, things of that nature. So it's important not to wear flip-flops because you could be on your tippy toes otherwise, and if you don't have good base of support, it could not tolerate the weight of your body and moving activities really well. Second is choosing the right shovel. So based on your height, you would want to have a shovel which is the height of its stays between your shoulder and hips. If you are a taller individual, then this could be too low for you, and then you'd have to stoop forward. So it's in those cases you could have those long shovel. I don't have any for demonstration, but then those long handle shovels is you can go behind it and then be able to use your body weight on it. So once you get that, shoveling and gardening or any sort of activities that requires pushing and pulling movement, it's important to understand what's your power zone. And I call that power zone is something which is closer to your body and between your hip and shoulder. So once you got this handle, it's important that you are when you're keeping it you're keeping it closer to your body, and in between this area, this will give you the maximum amount of force that you could put while doing a certain sort of an activity. Now you're constantly going to be bending, scooting, and things of that nature. So if you've watched some of my previous video, bending is about knowing what your neutral spine is. So one way to know what your neutral spine is, now of course this is for a theory purpose. You're not going to be doing that or have one shawl in like this while you're doing gardening, but the idea is that the back of your head, the middle part of your shoulder blade, and just a little bit of a gap between your lower back is how you want to keep your neutral spine. And any kind of overarching, if the gap is too much, or if it doesn't touches your head, that means you're stooping too forward. You just need to understand this in theory, so that once you put your conscious effort on knowing what a neutral spine is, and then it becomes easy, because all what you're going to be doing, you're constantly going to be bending from your hips, because more often than not, you see people bending from their back to just pick something, and it's more of a habit than anything of things of that. More than anything else. So once you understand that neutral spine and you're able to actually stoop from your hips, that allows you to not strain your back too much, and then you could prolong and be out there throughout the day doing all sorts of gardening. Now when because you'd be lifting or pushing a lot of weight, it's important that you leveraging your legs while you are getting some loads up there. So like once you dig in, you can always use the power of your leg to actually go in instead of your shoulder to be pushing it down. So that's one of the tips that I've often suggested. Second thing is that once you have to have a good nice wide stance while you are doing this sort of an activity, and the push and the movement needs to be from your head. So you could leverage the power of your legs. You can use one of your elbows here where it can allow you to support, and then the other hand can actually allow you to push up. You can always kneel forward, kneel as well, so that if you're using a short hand shovel, that allows you to do that, so that you're not again stooping from your legs. As you have weight on your shovel, it's important that you are not keeping the weight too far away from your body. Constantly keeping it closer to your body would be really key. And then when you're moving the weight, more often than not, just for speed purpose, most people would often just rotate and twist their spine and then be pushing the weight away. Of course, there's one way to do it, but once or a few times is okay. But then if you're doing this activity for a prolonged period of a time, constant twisting can actually not just speed up the process, but actually will slow you down, because you're going to get tired too fast, and then you have more prone to be able to hurt yourself as well. So a good suggestion for that would be to actually 1 or 2 steps you could walk closer to that and then push it away. So it's about using those legs, pivoting yourself and doing this instead of rotating and twisting sort of a movement. So here are a few things that you could try doing. Another thing, so if you've followed me along in my other tutorials that I have suggested, understanding our body mechanics are a science. So any activity that you're doing in one position for too long, the science is that if you can actually interrupt that position into going into an opposite direct movement. So in this case, since you're constantly going to be bending forward, stooping forward, using your arms, and all the activities are forward, once in a while, if you could just take a little bit of a break and then actually get your back to go back. Now this is an opposite movement. Now your hips, you're constantly going to be having it flexed. So if at all you can find a way where you can actually hold on something and then push your leg back and do 5 to 10 repetitions of these things, even with your wrist, if you're constantly going to be gripping something. So if you can find a spot where you can actually extend these fingers and wrist and then just stretch this out for like good 30 seconds to a minute, your neck, again, looking up or going up in that position, sitting on a chair or moving yourself back, being in this kneeling position and then rotating yourself. The idea is to just completely go into opposite direction of what you are actually going to be sustaining. So once you can get that science right, and then you could be able to get some of those movements, innovate and invent yourself. Hopefully this was helpful. Give these a try and let me know how did they work out, and more importantly, if you find this helpful, share this with your friends and family and subscribe to the channel.